Hello, my name is Sarah Pirela. I'm the Solution Manager of Tekla Warehouse, and I'm going to now show how to create content in Tekla Warehouse. First, I'm just going to shortly explain what Tekla Warehouse is if you're new to the concept. Then I'll give a hands-on demo of how to create content. And after that, I'll dive into some technical details that might help troubleshoot problems, understand issues, and so forth. So, what is Tekla Warehouse? Tekla Warehouse is a free online library of Tekla Structures modeling tools, intelligent parts, and templates to help users achieve more efficient workflows and higher quality projects. It includes applications, custom components, parts, profiles, materials like steel and concrete grades, bolts, rebars, meshes, shapes, and templates for Tekla Structures. This is what the website looks like when you browse to warehouse.tekla.com. The user can from there search content that they want and insert it into their model, or then just download it. Then the content is ready to use, depending on what type of content it is. Now I'll step by step guide you through creating content for your organization. First, some background information, a little bit about the terminology that we use here. Then I'll advise you how you can check your Tekla account, as that is very important when creating content in Tekla Warehouse. Next, I'll show you how to create a collection and then upload your content and then test the results. So first, some background information. When talking about Tekla Warehouse, we talk about owners, collections, content, and versions. The owner is the user or users in an organization that owns the content and has the right to edit the content. In the example that you see here, you can see that Tekla Corporation is the owner of this tool. That means all the users in Tekla Corporation can edit this tool. Then there's a collection, which basically means a folder. It's a container of content, and you can define this collection to be private or public. If it's public, then everyone can see and everyone can download. And if it's private, only you or your organization can see and download. Then we have the content, basically what it is, the name, the thumbnail, the description, the tags, the filters, the keywords, so forth. And then within the content, you have different versions or just one version. But the version is basically the files, the payload of the content, what the user wants, and then version specific compatibility information. So if it's related to any Tekla Structures version, for example. So how to check your Tekla account. First, a little bit about what Tekla Account enables you to do. So if you have Tekla Maintenance, it enables access to Tekla Maintenance content. But no matter your maintenance, you can still share your organization's content privately or publicly. So in this case, you can see a collection by Tekla Corporation that's private, and only the users in Tekla Corporation organization can see this collection and can download from this collection. To check your Tekla account, browse to account.tekla.com and either register or log in, depending on if you have an account or not. And then when you've registered to that account, you can see your account details, your name and display name and so forth. If you belong to a company, if you've been then invited into a company, you'll see the company on your account here, and it reads your company name. If you don't see your company here, you can contact your Tekla Structures administrator in your company if you know who that is, or then contact your Tekla area support or reseller support. If you are an administrator of your company, you can see this Access Admin Tool button here. When you press this button, you'll go to the admin tool, admin.account.tekla.com, where you can see your organization and your organization users. You can edit your company information, for instance, the title. The company name is what is used in Tekla Warehouse as is when you're creating content. And then you can also invite employees into that organization. So other users you want to share content with within that organization, or other users you want to share content for your organization. So next I'm going to show you how to create a collection, and I'll also show you how to upload your content. First I'll show what content I have. So I've prepared some content in advance. I've prepared a thumbnail for my collection, and then I have three different types of content. So I have just a tool, an IFC change management tool, and a thumbnail for that, and then some information about that tool. Then I have a safety gate. So basically, in this case, I have SketchUp files. These are static 3D objects. I have a thumbnail for that and a few pictures I've created. And then I have thumbnails that I'll use in Tekla Structures in the component catalog. Then I have Tekla Structures export files and some other additional files like a bolt assembly file, some custom component files, a material export file, and a profile export file. Then I've also added just a compressed file and a few other files as example. And I've also created a thumbnail for this content. All right, and now I want to upload this content into Tekla Warehouse. And how I start is by creating a collection. So let's go to Tekla Warehouse. Here's the landing page of Tekla Warehouse. This is what it looks like today. I can see new items, I can see popular items, I can search for content, and I can browse based on content type. And this is warehouse.tekla.com. So if I haven't logged on already, I can do so from this top right corner, or I can also register as well from here. I've already logged on. I can view my account in account.tekla.com and log off from here. To create a collection, go to My Warehouse and then New Collection. And here you can define whether it's a collection just for yourself, a personal collection, or if it's for your organization. My organization is Tekla Corporation. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to create a personal collection. That's just a test. And then I'll set it as private. You can start creating your content this way, for example, a sandbox if you like. I'll just give this sandbox a thumbnail. So let's give that thumbnail that I created in advance. There we go. Next, I'd like to add this application or these applications and the different versions of this application. I'll show that now. Here in my collection, I'll press Add Content button. And then I'll give the title, and then I'll give the description that I've added to this file in advance, and then a thumbnail. And this area is metadata of this content. So search criteria, labels that help the user understand what the content is, and then also any support information. So this is an application. It could also be anything else, but I'll just say that it's an application. What it's used for, so any workflow related labels, if it's related to a specific structure type, if it's related to drawings or modeling. This is for interoperability and for design. Any tags separated with a comma. Product availability, so if it's only for a specific country or if it's global. You can add as many or as few as you like. And then language restrictions. There we go. And then what measurement units the user can use with this content. And then any links to support. I can also add an email here with the mail to prefix. And then if I have a discussion forum where I want to guide users to comment this tool or give feedback about this tool, I can add a link to a discussion forum here, and then any copyright information here. This licenses checkbox is mainly for Tekla and Tekla area and reseller use. If you check this, then only users with Tekla maintenance can download the content. You can leave it empty if it's meant for all the users or just internal use. Now that I'm done with this page, I'll go to the next page where I add the files. So now that I'm adding an application, I need to select this Add Application button and then choose Files. I'll select the first version, both of the 32 and the 64-bit of this tool. And here I can define what platform these tools are for. This is for the 32-bit. I can also say that it's platform independent if it doesn't matter what the user has. One thing to note is that you only can have one of each type in one version. So this is my files, and then the version display name, compatible operating system if I want to give that information, compatible software products, compatible versions, 20.1. If I have any quality statements I want to make, if I have a product code, I can give it here, and a product expiration date, I can give it here. I could also give any prerequisites or recommendations about this content if I like, and then any external links that are related to this version from here. This is okay for me now, so I'll just click Next, and then I'll click Create to create this content. Uploading can take a while, and also adding the versions to the content can take a while, as the backend is meant for global performance. So because of this, the uploading has a delay. While I'm waiting for my versions to appear, it'll take a few minutes. I'll add some detail information here. To do that, let me switch the editor mode on, and then I'll select Edit Details. And here I can just copy paste some more information that I have. I could just do normal text editing here, and then I can add external links here as well. So let's just copy paste these. All right. And then let's see what it looks like. Great. I'd also like to add a video to this. I've uploaded a video into YouTube, and I want to add this, embed this into this page. So let's select Edit Details again, and then let's go to this Show HTML view, and it shows as black. So in YouTube, I can click Share, and then I can click the Embed tab. And here I'll get a string that I can copy, and then in my HTML view, I can paste, and then I can preview. There's my video, and then I'll press Save. So I have my details, and then I have a video here. I can fine tune more if I need. And let's press refresh, browser refresh, to see if the versions have now been made available for me. Okay, there they are. So this is the first version of this application. Now I'm going to add another version. So editor mode and add version. And this is for 21. I'll add an application, and then I'll add this 21 version. And then I'll select the correct platform, and then I'll give the metadata, the compatible version, any quality information, and so forth, and save. So let's go back to content information. Again, the next version will take a while to appear, a few minutes. While that's working in the background, I'll go back to my collection that I created, and then I'll add more content. So I'll press Add Content again, and now I'll add my Tekla Structures modeling files. right there. And then I'll add the thumbnail that I've created there. I won't add any additional metadata for the sake of this example. Now that I have Tekla Structures modeling files, I want these files to be able, I want the user to be able to insert these directly into their model. So instead of downloading an application, I want them to be put into the model. And in this case, if I want this type of content, I have to select content from Tekla Structures, or then I choose the files. I have the files already completed, so I'll select the Choose Files button and then select all these export files that I already have. Depending on the file extension, Tekla Warehouse guesses what file type it is, and this file type determines how the file is inserted into the model. So this is a bolt assembly file, so it'll be imported into the bolt assembly catalog. The same, this is a profile file, so it'll be imported into the profile catalog. This material file, I need to change this into material so that it is imported into the material catalog. Any attribute files, any report template files that work from the model folder can just be type general to model folder, and then they'll work in the model once they are in the model folder. I can also select content from Tekla Structures if I have a model open, like I have here. So when I select content from Tekla Structures, it uses the Tekla Structures API to read through all the content that you have in the model, and in particular in the catalogs of the model. Depending on how large your model is, it takes time to read through all those catalogs. And then it shows me a list of the content that I have in my catalogs, and I can select those content items and include them in my package from here. I won't do that now, but this is an option for you if you don't know how to export files in Tekla Structures. All right, this is my version, this is my content, and this is okay with me. So this is just, I'll give a version display name and just some metadata there, and select Next and Create. So here I can see my package, and then it'll again take a while for the versions to upload. Meanwhile, I'll add more content. So I'll add the safety gates that I have created with SketchUp into this collection. And then the thumbnail for those. So I'll just show quickly the content that I'm going to now upload. So I've created, here are two different SketchUp files that are a bit different in nature. And I want to add these into my Tekla Structures model, and I want them to be native Tekla Structures parts that I could use to model my structure. They're easier to model. These type of very, very detailed items are easier to model in, or sometimes easier to model in other modeling software. And I can just export the geometry from that modeling software, and then I could use that geometry as is in Tekla Structures. So I'll show you how to do that. Here, you select Create 3D Product Catalog and Geometry File. So I'll select the SketchUp file in this case, but it also can be other formats. And then the Component Catalog Thumbnail file, the name, product code, product weight, material, and then you can also add any attributes you like that will then be attached to this part. For instance, links, URLs to technical data of this content. And then I'll add the other object. You can add as many or as few as you like. I'll add 2. And then I can add any version-specific metadata if I like. If you want to know what type of geometry files you can use, in Tekla User Assistance you can find, for instance, uploading content into Tekla Warehouse files and file types, a technical article, and it shows all these different content versions that I'm now demonstrating, like applications, 3D product catalogs, and Tekla Structures modeling content. And this goes through all the different file types that you can use. The object geometry files, these file types are usable in Tekla Warehouse that work and are imported into Tekla Structures. So let's go back and click Next and create. I have a few images that I'd like to add to this particular item, so I'll add those images here by selecting this Insert Image, and then I'll select my gate image, and then I'll select my other picture. There, I can modify these if I like the size and the placement to be as I like, and then I'll save. Now I can see my additional images on the Details tab. I've refreshed the page and I can now see my version that I just uploaded, and as you can see, this is now insert into model. So this will go directly into the model and it will be converted into Tekla Structures objects. So I've now created all the content that I was planning to create, and next, when going to my demonstration, I need to test my results, and I'll show you now how you can do that. It's very basic. So let's test this safety gate first. You need to have a Tekla Structures model open in version 20.1 or version 21.0, or then newer as well. I have my model open here, and I have my component catalog here, and it's empty. There we go. Let's go back to Tekla Warehouse and select Insert into Model. And what this does is it starts this Import from Tekla Warehouse dialog, or this process. It downloads the files from Tekla Warehouse, and then it starts checking if there are any conflicts. It'll notify me if there are, and then it'll start importing the files and doing all the tricks of the trade to get these files into use. So now you can see that the content was installed into my shape catalog, so that I have this geometry that I defined now as a Tekla Structure shape. And then it also created custom parts that I can access from my component catalog. So if I now close this and select my safety gate 1, then zoom in, I can then add this into the model like that, for instance, and then see my part here, and then modify it and do whatever I want with it. If I select objects and components, I can inquire this part, and I can see the additional attributes that I gave in Tekla Warehouse are now attached to this part, like the color information that I added. All right, so that worked okay. So let's test the other content as well. Let's go back to my collection and then take this other Tekla Structures modeling files. In this content, if I give a reminder of what this content was, so there was materials, there was profiles, there was components, and some just generic files as well, and a shape and so forth. And let's see if this works. So I'll select also Insert into Model, as this is modeling content. The same Import from Tekla Warehouse dialog opens, and again, it downloads the files. There's a conflict. I have a profile already in my existing profile catalog that I'm now trying to bring again. So I can here just determine if I want to keep my existing profile that I have or replace with this new one that I'm bringing. I'll replace. There we go. So now my concrete frames and steel frame that I created are in my component catalog. And then the shape that I brought is in my shape catalog. My bolts are in my bolt assembly catalog. And then again, materials and profile catalogs have been updated. And then my model folder also includes now the files. If I sort, there's my compressed file and there's the README file that I had. If these would be report templates, they would work and they would be visible in my report catalog as well. All right, so you can have as many different types of items in a package or as few as needed, and it doesn't really matter. I can test this concrete frame. Seems to work okay, and then I'll test this steel frame. It seems to work okay. Looking good. Okay, let's go back. And then I have my IFC change management tool that I created, and this isn't modeling content. This is a tool, an application, and that's why this is download button. So I can select the version that's applicable for me, like 21.0, and then just press download. And what this does is this just downloads the file that I uploaded, and it doesn't do any automatic inserts into Tekla Structures, or Tekla Warehouse doesn't do anything for it. So it depends on what the application is and what the installer does, how this behaves and so forth. So if I start this installation, then it'll guide me through the normal extension installation for this tool. I won't install it now though, because this test worked okay. It downloaded the file, and that's what Tekla Warehouse does. It distributes the files. All right. So that was my content. It worked okay. I tested it and everything was fine. But if everything is not fine, then here's some technical details that can help you troubleshoot the problem. A little bit about under the hood, what actually happens. So with the Tekla Warehouse website, you can upload files and download files like I just showed you. But when you want to connect to Tekla Structures model, then you need to know that there's a Tekla Warehouse Service plugin that enables this direct link to and from Tekla Structures model. If you don't have this plugin installed, then this insert into model feature doesn't work, and you also can't upload directly from the model. You can also use local collections, and then you can also use the site in offline mode if you like. I'll just quickly show what that means. So here in My Warehouse, you have a Local and Network Collection tab. Here I've added some folders into my Dropbox sync folder. I have synced some content in there in Dropbox. And I also have a local Google Drive folder that I share with some colleagues and that we use to share content privately. And you can use these local and network collections without a Tekla account. And also if it's offline, you can use this when you're not online as well, this content. This is just a folder that I have in my C drive, some test content there. And then you can also create a network folder in your company network, and then you can use this folder with your colleagues to share content. All right. When creating a local and network collection, you press this Create Local and Network Collection. You give a name, and then you copy paste the folder location. So you already have to have the folder ready to be able to create a local and network collection. So let's go back to the presentation. So that's what Tekla Warehouse Service plugin enables. The link with Tekla Structures and then this offline and local use. The Tekla Warehouse Service plugin and uses Tekla Structures Open API with the import and export. So if there's something wrong with the import or if there's something wrong with the export, then it could be because of the API. And the API has been enhanced for version 21 and for version 20.1 to enable this type of direct link. So if you're using older versions like 20.0 or 19, these features won't work because the Open API hasn't been updated in those versions. The Open API then adds the content to Tekla Structures, where you can view the content in more detail, and then you can create content and upload that to Tekla Warehouse. So this link works, this connection goes both ways. About the Tekla Warehouse service, so you can access Tekla Warehouse service, for instance, by searching for services and opening the program's services from your Windows. And then you can find Tekla Warehouse in the services list. Sometimes you might need to restart the service for collections, local collections to update properly if there might be some issues. Most of them have already been fixed, but if there are, you can try to troubleshoot by restarting the service. All right, and some pointers at the end of this presentation. So the supported browsers are Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer version 10 and newer. So if you're using Internet Explorer 9, things work, but there are some features or some buttons that might look strange. Your company might have a very strict IT policy, and that might prevent Tekla Warehouse from working properly. If you're having some issues with Tekla Warehouse, one way to troubleshoot is to add tekla.com as a trusted site in your browser's options, and then see if that helps with the problems. As I mentioned earlier, Tekla Structures 20.1 onwards is required for Select Content from Tekla Structures feature and for Insert into Model feature. If you're using older versions, you can still use Tekla Warehouse, but then you'll just do manual export and manual import with the files. So you'll just download the files and manually add them into your model. Sometimes the profile catalog doesn't refresh properly. So if this is the case that you've inserted content into your model and you can't see the profiles that should be there, then you might need to reopen the catalog, the profile catalog. And if that doesn't work, then try reopening the model, and then you might see after that the content. Reopening the model might be needed when bringing drawing settings into the model folder. About liability and support, so as Tekla Warehouse is open for all, it means that there can be all types of content and Tekla can't guarantee the quality of this content, and Tekla can't support this content either. You are responsible for the quality of your model. So if you download something that causes errors in your model, then it's very good to know that you need to be very aware of what you use and make sure the quality is according to your own standards. The Tekla Warehouse development is continuously ongoing. We're currently in the 1.0 phase of things, and we're trying to improve the usability and add a lot of new features to make the use of the solution better. So sometimes a bit of patience is needed, and sometimes some weird bugs might appear, but please contact us if this is the case, if you want to give feedback. If you want more information, you can go to support.tekla.com or Tekla User Assistance, where you can just search for content for Tekla Warehouse or browse the product guide about Tekla Warehouse. That was all on my part. Thank you very much for listening. I hope Tekla Warehouse is a useful tool for you and enables you to share content in a much more efficient way than before.